The Ghettos by Fady Fahmy, Matthew Samuel, and Daniel Erisman.
All images used in this presentation are under the fair use interpretation of the copyright law. All others are used by permission.
According to the United States National Holocaust Museum, the ghettos were temporary housing for Jews during the Holocaust awaiting death camps. Often, they were starved or worked to death.
In the ghettos, Jews were starved, they were transported to death camps, shot, and maybe even worse than being shot, they caught deadly diseases like tuberculosis, which was basically you coughed up blood and it infected your lungs.
Reinhard Heydrich was a senior group leader and the chief of police, chief of the Reichsmann Security Office, including the Gestapo, Kripo, and the Sicherheitsdienst, responsible for the murder of Nazi resistance. He's also known as the man with the iron heart. He came up with the ideas of concentration camps and ghettos.
Here's the marketplace of the Warsaw Ghetto. As you can see, this market is packed because there are so many Jews, limited resources, and this was the most likely the only marketplace in the whole Warsaw Ghetto.
This is another picture of the bustling streets of Warsaw. As you can see, the thin street is crowded with Jews and the Schutzstaffel are on the edges of the street keeping watch. According to Britannica.com, the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto were 10 feet high, topped with barbed wire, so no Jews could escape.
More of the crowded streets of Warsaw. This is only a small sample of the 400,000 people that lived here.
This is a family leading a trail of Jews to the Warsaw Ghetto. Eventually, they will be sent to the death camp in Treblinka, Poland. That was also the name of the death camp, Treblinka. They are being escorted by the Schutzstaffel, specifically of the Schutzstaffel, the Gestapo. Here's a map of the layout of the Lodz Ghetto. It is laid out with a cemetery for all the dead Jews, a wall 10 feet high just like the Warsaw, Poland Ghetto, and a main synagogue that was destroyed in 1939. The Lodz Ghetto, which was located in Lodz, Poland, is pretty big, but it was overcrowded and there was a lot of poverty and starvation.
Here is another map, the layout of the Minsk Ghetto. It has no walls, but a long, large gate and a common meeting area. Also, there is a hospital and a secondary gate in case some Jews were to escape. A Jewish man is being searched by the Schutzstaffel in this picture. The Nazis are probably searching for food scraps that he's trying to sneak away, or possibly weapons that he might hurt their fellow soldiers with.
This kitchen, waiting for their meals as little kids. This food would barely be filling because of how small the portions were. In addition, this kitchen is a very small kitchen with many kids lined up to have their meals.
Here's another example of poverty in the Holocaust. If you look at this picture, you will see poor siblings in the ghetto. This is only a small sample of poverty and lack of resources in the ghettos.
500 people lived within 640 acres of land in the Warsaw Ghetto. There was very little housing, almost 9 people in every room. Starvation and diseases killed thousands each month, including tuberculosis and typhus. Also, transfers to death camps reached as highest to 5,000 a day. One day, the Jews were taken by surprise and told that 8,000 would be deported to camps. The Jews were outraged and stood up for themselves. Jews took clever hiding spots, waiting for the time to strike. However, the Germans would not go down cellars and ended the deportation effort after 2 days. Fortunately, the Jews took control of the ghettos and their hiding spots remained. 3 weeks later, on Hitler's birthday, the Jews decided to fight back. On April 19, 1943, the Warsaw Ghetto Revolt began. For 2 whole days, the Jews held the Germans off. Unfortunately, on the 3rd day, the Nazis decided to change their tactics and burn the ghetto.
Here is the flag of the Schutzstaffel. The runic insignia of the Schutzstaffel are these 2 bolts of lightning. It is also the official symbol of the Nazi Party.
In conclusion, Holocaust ghettos were a terrible idea. It completely isolated Jewish people, forced them to live in poverty, starvation, and fear for their lives. Even though ghettos were only built as a type of waiting room for concentration camps and usually death, they were still a huge part of history and World War II.